All right, good afternoon, everyone. From the WAVY Digital Center, I'm meteorologist Ricky Matthews, joined by two of our friends from Langley Air Force Base today to talk a little bit about the upcoming Air Power over Hampton Roads Air Show. 29 days away, and it's been a long time since we've had an air show at Langley Air Force Base because of COVID and because of some other things that went on, and it's been years since they've held Air Power over Hampton Roads. I want to welcome in Lieutenant Colonel David Delmage to the show today, and also Second Lieutenant Andrew Braffhart, excuse me. You guys are the experts here. You guys are the ones who are going to be telling us kind of about what's going on with the air show, so I appreciate you coming out today and speaking to us.
Yeah, pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
So, 29 days away. What's the feelings? Getting everything ready now?
We're very excited. It is a ton of work, as you'd imagine, but we're really looking forward to the opportunity to engage with the crowd and show them what we do around here.
And that is something, that is so important. I mean, people drive by Langley Air Force Base every day. If you live on the peninsula, you undoubtedly see the F-22s and T-38s flying over every single day. But people usually don't get the opportunity to come onto base and see these jets up close. Speak to me for a second about why you guys have Air Power over Hampton Roads and have the Langley Air Show.
First and foremost, it's about connecting to the community. So the professionalism of our team at Langley Air Force Base is incredible, and on a day-to-day basis, you don't really see in a lot of detail what goes on behind the scenes. You see the jets flying overhead, but you don't see the thousands of professionals that are out there that are really making the mission happen every day. So it's a great opportunity to give back and reach out to the community and just give them a slight sliver of what we do on a day-to-day basis, and hopefully inspire some of the youth to someday follow in our footsteps.
And Langley is kind of a unique base because with the upcoming air show, we're going to have, of course, the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds returning, which is always a great show. But I think it's kind of cool that we have a locally based team here, the F-22 Raptor demo team, which is going to be performing. Give us a couple specs on who's going to be there and what are some of the things people are going to see.
Yeah, we've got a great lineup. I'll say first and foremost, the one you hit right up front is the F-22 demonstration team. We're lucky enough to have them here at Langley Air Force Base. They're one of our pilots and fly with our combat jets here for the demo. If you haven't seen it, it's incredible. Even as someone who's seen it many times, it's still awe-inspiring every time. So don't miss that one. Thunderbirds are always great. We've got the F-35 demo, F-18 demo, quite a few civilian and warbird pilots as well. Rob Holland, absolutely phenomenal civilian pilot who will do things that are absolutely incredible even for a military pilot watching, and the list goes on. So it's impressive even for those of us who get to do it every day, and we're looking forward to meeting with the crowd and showing what we do.
My favorite Rob Holland story from the air shows I've been to, he'll perform like right before the Blue Angels, right before the Thunderbirds, and it's funny to always have the Blue Angels with Thunderbirds pilots and maintainers kind of just stop and watch him, because I mean he's doing crazy things with his aircraft. It flips, it rolls, it does things that kind of defy the laws of physics, it feels like, as he's flying through the air. Andrew, let me bring you in for a second, because there are some new things this year with the air show. If you've been to Air Power over Hampton Roads in the past, people are so used maybe to driving onto the base and just kind of coming through the gates. A little different this year, correct?
Yes, correct. So it's a little bit different from 2018 if you went that year, because we parked everyone on the west ramp, which is now where the air show is going to be. So we have different parking locations. You can park both on base and off base. The main thing that we want to hit on is that you have to register for parking, and you have to do that through the Air Power over Hampton Roads website that's provided by Joint Base Langley-Eustis Public Affairs team. So you find that on their website, register, and then that'll give you a specific parking lot that you have to go to in order to get onto base and into the air show.
Are you able to, what if people need a handicap park or anything like that? Is there anything special they need to do?
Yeah, so if you have the handicap logo on your license plate or you have it displayed in your windshield, then we will direct you throughout base to the specific handicap locations.
May in Hampton Roads can sometimes be a little bit of everything. I've seen thunderstorms, I've seen sunny skies, I've seen heat, and I've seen cool mornings. Talk about some of the things people should and shouldn't bring to the air show. First off, kind of a comfort level. I mean, you're going to be out in the sun, you're going to be out there probably in the heat in May. What are some things people can and can't bring?
Yeah, so definitely bring sunscreen. It's going to be probably very hot because it's in May. You can bring a water bottle. It has to be clear, and it has to be empty when you go through the checkpoints that we're having before you get onto the flight line.
When you say clear water bottle, just so we can clarify, is that any size water bottle or just traditional, water bottle size? Someone has a clear, jug kind of a thing.
So keep it under 64 ounces.
Okay.
It should be a small water bottle, but it has to be clear and empty or sealed before you get onto.
There's going to be someone definitely bringing a 64-ounce water bottle now, but I understand. Other things, besides the clear and obvious things, don't bring weapons on a military base. Bad idea.
Yep.
What are some other things people can't bring on?
Yeah, so definitely don't bring any weapons, firearms, knives, box cutters, anything that can harm anyone. You want to stay away from large bags. We are allowing diaper bags and clear bags and small purses. You want to stay away from flammable items and drones, alcohol, drugs, anything of that sort.
The drone thing I think is important because there's going to be a lot of people who live in the Hampton area, and honestly, this is something you shouldn't do on a normal day because one, it's illegal from the FAA, two, it's controlled airspace, and three, it's just not smart because we have aircraft operating at low altitudes. But talk about drones and how you guys definitely don't want those anywhere near the airbase on a general basis.
Correct. So yeah, if you, we don't want them anywhere on the base or around the base because the planes are flying at such a low altitude. But we will monitor the airspace and make sure that there's no drones in the area, and if they are, then we have ways of bringing them down.
And that's an unfortunate thing because we've had, even I remember it was a couple years ago at Oceana, they had to stop one of the performances because there was a drone or something they thought was in the airspace. I mean, pilot safety is a premier thing that we want to try to enforce because Thunderbird pilots are flying super close to one another. What makes the Thunderbird demonstration different than what you may see F-22s doing on a normal day?
Well, first one, just pile onto what you mentioned. The pilot safety is a tremendous deal when it comes to drones or everything else, but realize the crowd safety is an important part of that as well. And a large part of our planning effort is to make sure that the crowd is safe and every aspect of the show is professional and safe. And so I agree with all of what you said. The Thunderbirds are all combat pilots or former combat pilots who now are part of the professional demonstration team for the Air Force. They fly very close formation. They fly very low to the ground, and the number of aircraft they put as close together as they do is very impressive. It takes a absolute ton of dedication, and they have to go through many repetitions to get good at it over time.
And you talked about this kind of from how many people work on Langley every day, how many people it takes to put this show together. But the same kind of deal with the Thunderbirds. Everyone sees the 6 pilots, but there is a lot that goes on behind the scenes to get that demonstration ready, from maintenance to support folks to even just the sound and audio that you hear during the demonstration. So it's kind of a neat opportunity to see almost every aspect of the Air Force come together into one team and one kind of show.
It is. There's not a lot of margin for error in what they do and what we do as well, but that's part of the dedication and the professionalism that the Air Force brings every day. It's a game of inches. It's a matter of seconds when it comes to combat aircraft and what we do in general at Langley Air Force Base. The Thunderbirds give you kind of a visual representation of what that actually means. And so it kind of shows one unique element that is much more representative of everything that we do as an Air Force.
So the stuff in the air obviously gets the big show going, but there's stuff on the ground people can check out as well, correct?
Yeah, you bet. We'll have a variety of military and civilian aircraft with personnel there to talk to the crowd. I think we're all there at some point as school kids showing up to air shows and getting to engage with whether it's pilots, maintainers, or all the other professionals at the base. And it's pretty neat to put a face to a name and demystify the military a little bit. We're all just people who are dedicated to our jobs, and it's a great opportunity to not only see the hardware, but also engage with the people.
Something I think is always interesting whenever I go to these air shows is that one of the most popular acts is never the thing that leaves the ground. It's always the jet truck. And you guys have one of those this year, correct?
Absolutely. So we've got a really impressive lineup in terms of both on the air and in the ground, and it's a great opportunity for the Darnells to come out and do what they do, which is go rocketing down the runway as fast as we fly over the runway, and it's an impressive sight to see every time.
It always causes a big rush up to the fence line. I remember standing up there and all the little kids come up and try to get a view of it as it goes by. Going back to parking for just a second. So you mentioned there's going to be on-base and off-base parking. How do people get to the base if they park off-base?
So we'll provide transportation if you park off-base. The parking off-base is going to open at 8 o'clock, and then transportation is going to start around 8:45. And so that gives enough time for the buses to transport people onto base, and they'll get dropped off directly on the flight line to enjoy the show.
What happens if someone doesn't know about the parking and they happen to just show up at the gate that day? I mean, I assume they're going to be turned around and told to go park somewhere else, right?
Yep, so we're going to try to avoid that by publicizing this as much as possible, making sure that people register for parking ahead of time. That's going to tell you exactly what gate to go to or what parking lot to go to before you get there. But if that happens, then we'll allow them on base and we'll direct them to parking lots that are empty.
Okay.
We have a good question from a viewer. They're asking, will recruiters be there if I'm interested in joining?
Absolutely. We'll have a fairly robust recruiter setup, and I will say the best recruiters that you can talk to in general are all the professionals that will be there in uniform throughout the day, but we'll absolutely have professional Air Force recruiters and other services as well that'll be able to provide information to any aspiring folks.
Absolutely. Well, great. That's a good answer for Gabby listening. So hopefully you caught that, and if not, you can go back and watch that. I did want to make sure real quick we addressed the video that we're playing. We're playing B-roll that Ricky pulled up from, I think, past air shows. But if you could just, for viewers joining, we have people coming in and out, just talk about for a second, just maybe what they're seeing.
Yeah, so this is video, I believe, that I pulled. This is the Wings of Blue Air Force parachute team, and I think that's always an interesting part of the air show, too. It's something I never want to do, jump out of a perfectly good airplane, but for some reason, people decide that's a fun thing to do. So, once again, different types of acts that'll be there at the show, anything from parachuters to jet trucks. It sounds like a really cool lineup.
But there's quite a bit of variety, which it's always neat to see the contrast. So whether it's Wings of Blue, jumping, or we've got a really unique 12-ship formation called a team called Full Throttle, which is flying formation with 2 aircraft is very difficult. So let alone 12. Again, we've got P-51s, World War II T-6s, civilian, and then quite a few jet teams as well. So every time you look up in the sky, you'll see something new and different.
And that's something, too, that I think is important because it kind of goes to the parking aspect as well. Everyone tries to get there at 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, a couple hours before the Thunderbirds fly. If you get there that time, 1, you're probably going to get stuck in traffic. 2, you may take a little longer to get onto base because there's everyone else trying to do the same thing. What's your tips and tricks if you want to make it as smooth of an air show experience as possible?
Yeah, so gates to the base will open up at 9 o'clock for people that have registered for parking and have been awarded the on-base parking spots. We're going to stop parking at 1 o'clock, or people coming onto base, because that's when we have to prepare for the Thunderbirds to fly, and we just want to make sure that all the parking is situated for that.
And are there any road closures around the base during that time?
So our people are going to be coordinating all the traffic flow on base, and it'll be smooth, and people are going to get to the parking lots, but there are going to be some road closures that people aren't going to be able to drive to.
Okay. And as the show gets closer and closer, people may see some acts performing and practicing ahead of time, but the 2 public days are Saturday and Sunday, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Anything I did mention that you guys think people should know or want to bring up as folks get ready for the Air Power Hampton Roads Air Show?
I think we covered most of it. We're really excited to have everyone out. I hope everyone shows up with patience and ready to realize that you're going to see a highly professional team on the military as well as the civilian side, and we're excited about it. We don't typically, on a day-to-day basis, host upwards in the tens of thousands of people. So as you can imagine, folks that are going to show up are going to be a little bit patient, just as they would with any air show. In terms of getting to and from, but when they're there, they're going to see an impressive lineup, and we're looking forward to it.
It's something I always think is important to remember. Air Force bases are not designed to let thousands of people on and off at a quick, turnaround. So it may take a while to get on base and off base by design. So appreciate that.
I did want to mention that the WAVY team will be there
that's a good
both
point.
days. So I think, we'll be on site if people want to go up to the tent. I guess, Ricky, will you talk about that?
Chopper 10 will be there. I believe we're going to bring that in earlier in the week. And then I will be out there probably next to the helicopter through much of the weekend. Pilot Scott Abbott will be out there. I know I'm on the schedule. I think Steve Fandero is on the schedule. I don't know anyone else, but I'm sure there'll be a couple other people joining it. But we get to show off our aircraft as well, and just like the Air Force does. So cool things.
Absolutely. Well, I think, there's a ton of people tuning in, and this is going to live on wavy.com and YouTube and Facebook, so people can join, the conversation there and tune in and hear what you all said today. And I just want to throw it back to Ricky did a cover on this about 2 weeks ago, leading up to the event, and I'm sure we'll do more coverage, in the next month before the actual event takes place. Yeah,
so if you didn't see that story, it's kind of cool. It's kind of a little highlight with the F-22 Raptor demo team pilot, Sam Larson. So check that out on wavy.com, and then there's also a link on there if you want to register for parking. And of course, what's the website again for if someone wants to? If you just type it into Google, I assume Air Power for Hampton Roads comes up, and they can get everything they need to know there.
Correct. Yep.
All right. Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We really appreciate it, and looking forward to coming on base here in just under a month.
Thanks for having us, and we'll see you out there.
All right.